Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Parent Interview, where I, David Pearson, interview parents about their career option. This time we have Gia, an elementary school French teacher and a single mother of an extremely wonderful, intelligent child.
That's true.
Tell me, Gia, what are the challenges, responsibilities, and rewarding moments of being an elementary school teacher?
I think being an elementary school teacher is a great career. I chose it, so I might be biased because of that, but educating young minds is one of the priorities in our society, and that makes the humanity hopefully be the best it can be and get better.
How did you start off? How was life like before being a teacher? Did you ever plan your career options?
Um, I started being a teacher in Romania when I was 20, so that's quite a while back, even if I'm 29 forever. But besides being a teacher, I used to be a professional musician, and I was thinking that my career as a musician was as important as being a teacher. So I divided my time between performing and teaching. It became only my primary career after my son, you, were 5, and I became a single mother, and then I decided that I put my musical career on the side and be only a teacher, just because I needed more time to raising a child, you, and being a dedicated teacher as well.
Do you think that your resume and cover letter were detailed enough in the start process? What advice would you give when writing these pieces of information about yourself?
I was fortunate to be a child musician, so my resume was full right from the beginning. And then when I was younger in Romania, right after the communist regime fell, I was involved in organizing and promoting music across the border in Europe, in Western Europe. So I was involved in an organization called Europe by Music, and I was a vice president. So I was pretty busy as a child. I was pretty busy as a young adult, and then I came to Canada, where I played with a few orchestras, and went back to school to get my Bachelor of Education. So I was fortunate that I had things to write on my resume. I also spoke a few foreign languages. Besides English, I spoke French, Italian, and a little bit of Spanish. So I thought, I'm thinking right now, I'm looking back and I'm thinking that it happened that I built all these strengths, and I think that I also have the mentality that I transform every failure into a victory, and I think that the lesson learned,
That's a great strength.
yeah, the lesson learned helped me make choices in certain situations. So having a good resume and being exposed to all kinds of environments is really important in my opinion. And I do encourage you, my son, to do the same thing, and I'll be there for you, and I'll support you in any decision you make, and try to guide you as much as I can.
Were you ever affected being an immigrant from Romania? How was life when you came to Canada?
In all fairness, when I came to Canada, it wasn't easy. It was quite another adaptation process. My credentials were not fully recognized, so I had I had a choice to make. I either went back to school and get a Bachelor of Education, even if in Romania I was a certified teacher. Here my certification didn't count, so I had to go back to school, or I had to wait and go through a very long process that involved Ontario College of Teachers and get my credentials step by step, credit by credit. My choice was to go back to school, and initially I thought I would become a music teacher. Life took me in a different direction, and I guess speaking languages helped me, because once I graduated my Bachelor of Education in 2004, I took all my qualifications, intermediate, senior, and primary as well, so all the qualifications that I could. And I applied everywhere in Ontario, and I became a French teacher. That was how I became a French teacher. I didn't plan it, but I truly enjoy my job.
Change is an important factor in choosing your career options. Was it always your dream of becoming a teacher? If so, then why?
Somewhere on the line, it's funny to say, but I remember in grade 3, I decided that I would become a teacher. I thought I would be a violin teacher or a music teacher. But I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know where life would take me. I guess somewhere in my mind I always wanted to be a teacher. And even during summer holiday, I still think like a teacher. I catch myself doing that in public places.
What degrees did you get before becoming an elementary school teacher, and from where? What training did you acquire at these institutes?
I went to an elite music school in Romania, where I was enrolled from practically grade 1 to grade 12. In order to be in that music school, there were exams and tests every year. I put lots of work into my music studies, and I passed everything, so I graduated Dinuli Padi High School, and then I went to the music faculty in Romania. I have a master's in performance. I didn't necessarily do this for a teaching career. I combined my master's in performance that I graduated in Bucharest, Romania, with co-op, I would call it, because I don't know exactly how to say it. A co-op in which I did my Bachelor of Education. My Bachelor of Education was embedded in my courses that I took during my university years. So I became a teacher as well in Romania. I was a teacher there, and then I came to Canada in 2001, and I went back to school, and I have a Bachelor of Education here in Canada as well. Can you repeat the question?
What type of training did you do at that institute, and what was the institute?
So in Romania my training was besides the pedagogical, besides the pedagogical courses, it was also performing technique and violin, orchestra, music, lots of music. In Canada, my Bachelor of Education was practically stressing all the qualifications I needed to become a teacher in this country. So, child psychology, pedagogy, classroom management, this type of courses.
Uh, how did you get hired for your job? What type of advertisements were involved in your name?
I I applied practically to every school in Ontario. So
So it's sort of spread by word?
there is a website called Apply to Education that I used. It was an interview. I did a research and I noticed that as much as I wanted to be a music teacher, Ontario needed French teacher at the time. I took my qualification as a French teacher, so FSL, French as a second language. French as a second language AQ. And while doing the course, I started applying to all these schools. And one day, I had 2 interviews. One in Concordia and one in Barrie. And the Barrie answer came faster than the Concordia one. The Concordia was for high school, the Concordia interview was, I call it a Concordia interview, it was in Concordia for a high school, for a position as a French teacher. The interview in Barrie was for a position as a French teacher in an elementary school. So the answer came faster for the school in Barrie, and here I am.
So doing your research is better when searching for a job?
When I was applying for the job as a teacher, I also applied for everything else I could. I practically needed a job. I was fortunate to get a job in in a field that I really love, and I still like it. I love my job.
Do you think modern day technology has affected teaching? If so, how is it affecting it, and what results do your students get out of it?
Absolutely. Yes, technology is a big part of teaching right now. It can be a blessing and a curse at the same time, especially with teaching languages. Right now, with a click, you can get the computer translator, so some kids are more motivated than others, so my job is to engage my students, and I need to combine technology with all other kind of teaching techniques in a way in which I meet the needs of my students. But yes, technology is a big part of teaching and education nowadays. Look at you, you're doing an online course, so without technology, you would have to be at school. So I think it's again a great resource to have, and I'm expecting that in the near future, technology is going to be everywhere.
What do you look forward in your job, and how do your skills help you manage time and everything in your job?
I think that if I can make a difference in a child's life, that means I make a difference in the world. I know it sounds big, but it's actually true. I know I have an impact of nowadays society, and I feel great when I see that my students are successful, not only in learning French, but in acquiring qualities that would help all of us be in a better world.
What advice would you give to young adolescents beginning their career journey?
I would say that what is the best is to be open-minded, to be a hard worker, have excellent work ethics, that's key, and have grit. So you need to be perseverant, have resilience, And you need to understand that failure is part of life. And again, my motto is turning a failure into a victory. This is how I lead my life, every aspect of my life. I'm far from being perfect, but I'm hoping that my little contribution is going to make the world a better place. And I hope you and your friends, the next generation, is going to strive to make the world a good place to live for you and your kids and the kids to come.
Well, you heard it, folks. What an inspirational story. Thank you, Gia, for being here. And I hope that all of you have learned something there at home about this job experience. I'm David Beerson reporting for Parent Interviews. Goodbye.
Thank you, David. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing you graduate